And welcome in, everybody, to Detroit Sports Talk on the fifth chapter, presented to you by CashToBitcoin.com. I'm Dennis Fithian, joined by Raj Bundles. There he is, Sideshow Raj, in for Brian Jelinek. Raj, good to see you, man. What's up?
Good to see you. I always appreciate you having me on board. And it's always a pleasure to be here to talk some sports.
Man, I was hoping to see hear your little sounder in the background. Not today? That's it. And you know what? If you're a sports fan, this doesn't happen very often, but you can throw four fingers in the air. Well, you've got three local teams here playing tonight, but you've got basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. The Wings are in action. The Pistons are in action. You've got Game 6 of the World Series, and we have MACtion, Mid-American Conference football tonight, featuring the Eastern Michigan Eagles on the road down in Toledo at the Glass Bowl, taking on the Rockets. So, pick and choose tonight, man. You got it all going.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know EMU was playing tonight. Oh, that's dope. This is
MACtion. 7:30 down there. It's cool, and the Glass Bowl's a cool stadium, man. It's got you got the rocks around the edge, and not a surprise that the majority of the press box is like a. You can see all the way down through one end with these glass panels, Glass Bowl. That's why it's called the Glass Bowl. So it's pretty cool.
Toledo, the Glass City. Shout out to everybody in Toledo watching right now.
There you go. And good luck to the Eagles. Pete Finelli is here. He's down. I guess he's not really down. He's over in Penn State as a sophomore. He took another loss this week. Of course, there was another big loss that we'll get to right out of the gate. And let's take a look at our book and the chapters. And those are brought to you by CashToBitcoin.com. Hey, I know you've thought a lot about it like me, how to get involved in cryptocurrency. Now I'm here to tell you how to do it. Go to CashToBitcoin.com. That's cash, the number 2, Bitcoin.com. A couple of weeks ago, I was listening to the Red Wings game, and I heard their spot. I was interested. Raymond had a hat trick, and I was getting excited about CashToBitcoin.com. It's one of the fastest and largest growing crypto ATMs in Michigan. They have hundreds of locations in Michigan and beyond. CashToBitcoin.com's ATMs and terminals offer safe and secure transactions. So get it going, step it up, check it out. Now is the time, folks. Remember it and use it. It's CashToBitcoin.com.
Shout out to them. Looking forward to talking to some sports here, some lines, ready to indulge and get into all of it.
All right, well, we will get into all of that. We'll get into the Lions. There's the book right there. Let me blow that thing up for everybody. We got the Lions in the second chapter. It was a trading deadline that came and went in the NFL. There you see Cade Cunningham. He's in action tonight, but the Pistons have a plan for him not to play in back-to-back games. Wings taking on the Habs. There you see Game 6 of the World Series as well. So it's a packed show, and Raj, I know you're ready to get things underway. Rob Diddy is here. He's ready to go as well. So let's start out with Chapter 1, and that gets us to this past weekend and what happened in college football. And, Pete will be keeping an eye on the college football rankings. He knows that Penn State's not going to show up in the 4, but some of the teams maybe that Penn State will be playing will. So when those rankings come out, we'll have Pete jump in with those, and he'll keep you up to speed on anything that's going on with those local games. But there was a big local game, the Backyard Brawl. It was up in East Lansing, and Raj, it ends up going to Michigan State, 37-33, the final. What happened up there at Spartan Stadium?
Yeah, it was a good game. Definitely one of the more exciting games of this year. I thought Michigan should have won that game. I thought they played well enough to win. Michigan in time of possession, Michigan had 34 minutes. MSU had 25. Michigan had 552 total yards to MSU's 395. Michigan had 26 first downs to MSU's 20. And, I think Michigan played a good game. Cade McNamara, he was very solid. Cade McNamara was 28 of 44, 383 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, had a QBR of 88. So I thought Michigan was in the driver's seat to win that game. But, ultimately they didn't. The J.J. McCarthy thing, the fumble, that hurt them. J.J. McCarthy had 2 fumbles that game. The first one he lost, it went out of bounds. And, the second one, he ended up losing, and they did get back. So Cade was playing very well, but I guess Gaddis and Harbaugh just have it to where McCarthy's going to come in no matter how well or bad Cade's performing, I guess. But yeah, I thought Cade played a good game. McCarthy had that costly fumble, and Peyton Thorne didn't play that well. They really just rode Kenneth Walker, and yeah, hats off to Kenneth Walker too, man. Phenomenal game, and his name he definitely has to be one of the Heisman finalists.
Yeah, you had a lot. You pretty much encapsulated it there. This will be known as the Kenneth Walker game, that's for sure. When you score 5 touchdowns like he did, and like you said at the start there, it's hard to say, if you're a Michigan fan, that it was a great game and it was thrilling. But, really, when it goes to the 30 to 30, Michigan State, 2 straight possessions, they end up scoring 8 points, getting a 2-point conversion. And the one they had 3 third downs, the one they had a 4th down. They hit 2 4th downs for pretty big plays in that game. Then they hit the back-to-back drives that not only they score touchdowns, they get the 2-point conversion after Michigan is up by 16 points. It looks like they're going to run away with the game. And then here comes Michigan State back to tie, but Michigan still had their opportunities after that. And they sacked Thorne. The ball was laying on the ground. They went up. They almost had an interception. Either of those things happened. Again, it looks like really good chance that they're going to win the game. We know now that those things didn't happen. And when you play 2 quarterbacks, there's a reason that it really hasn't worked in the history of college football, because it's hard. It's hard on the team. It's hard on the players. And in this situation, we saw how it can backfire. Like J.J. McCarthy comes in, Michigan's down there right on the red zone, and a tie game. Is that really when you throw J.J. McCarthy in? Well, he fumbled out of bounds. A freshman could do that. But you know what? You had Cade McNamara, who's cooking. He was playing well. And so where McNamara came in and then had 2 passes before they kicked the field goal to go up 3 points, I would have liked Cade to have had 3 passes to see if he could have gotten it into the end zone. That's more pressure on McNamara. It puts more pressure on McCarthy to feel like, he can't get into the rhythm or the feel of the game. He's only got a finite number of plays. He feels like, I got to make something big happen. And then he fumbles. And then, whatever happened, the Harbaugh, I didn't like him, talking about McNamara was working through something. Look, tell us what he's working through. Injuries throughout the week, you want to hide that he's got a leg injury or something. All right. But you know what? If he was concussed or something, say it. Instead it was like, he was working through something. You put a freshman out there after he had just fumbled, and he fumbled again. And you know what, Raj, here's the thing. Like, you could expect the offensive line on the road, you're used to listening to the cadence of your starting quarterback. Now you got to come in and listen to another guy on the road, and all the different calls that he might make. Then you've got the running back that you got to deal with the mesh concepts. And you know what? McCarthy's taller than Cade McNamara. It's a recipe for disaster, and it blew up on Michigan. I didn't really like Harbaugh's explanation on it. Well, we're not talking about injuries. He was working through something. I thought he should have been a little bit more revealing on actually what went on over there. Because if there was a chance that they could have had McNamara back in there, you never put a guy that just fumbled as a true freshman back in there. That would have been one of the worst calls ever in coaching. So. A lot of bad things went on for Michigan. Still, they put up a lot of points, and they had 5 or 6 chances to win that game. And Michigan State needed like 8 things to go their way, and all of them did go their way. So they get the credit for that. And it was a fabulous game, a great victory for MSU, and just a gut punch here for Michigan. Raj, what am I wish I was looking forward to those college football rankings coming out. Michigan being in the top 4, but no, it's going to be Michigan State. And, they're all fat and happy, and I'm just fat.
Yeah, I think they wanted to put Michigan up there as well. If they would have beat State, they for sure would have had a top 4 ranking, I think. And, shout out to Mel Tucker being the first MSU coach to beat Michigan in his first 2 seasons. So shout out to Mel Tucker for that. But yeah, moving forward, do you think they're still going to keep doing the J.J. McCarthy Cade thing, or do they cut back on that, or like? No,
I think he's still going to do it. I mean, he said he's still going to do it, and I think he is going to still do it. McCarthy's a 5-star quarterback, so he's worried about losing him and him, hitting the transfer portal like that dude in the Dr. Pepper commercial. But you know what? Here's the thing. Like, Cade McNamara was a redshirt freshman last year, and he got a free year. So they still have 3 more years, the both of them, after this. So you've got to pick somebody after this. If it's McCarthy, then it's McCarthy. If it's McNamara, put him in. This, we're going to have him on a first series or anything else. It's playing with fire. They got caught. There was always a chance that they were going to get caught. And this one right here was one of the big reasons. Like, Michigan took the lead and they got the ball back from Michigan State. They finally stopped Kenneth Walker, but then they fumbled. And when Walker went in, they were so scared that Walker was going to score a 6 touchdown that they went for it on their own 32 on 4th down. And all of the things being said about the calls and everything else, Michigan finally got a call, a questionable call at the end of the game on a roughing the passer, which got the ball pretty close, moved it up there. And then Cade McNamara had a lot of time and threw a horrible pass into double coverage and got it picked. I mean, that was an egregious pick, even though he played well. Way too many big plays for Michigan State. Michigan just had to come up and make one of the 8 plays that State needed. I think if they make one of those, they end up winning the game, but they didn't. So, huge victory for MSU. And to make that many plays was amazing. And you know what? They had the 6 video replays that went for them. Most of them, looking at them, I think that, they were the correct call. Even Mike Pereira, said he didn't think that one was going to last, or, I don't think so. But, the strip by Ajabo and the touchdown by Hutchinson, that's typical over officiating BS that I've seen in every sport. They always do that. They always talking about, well, you need irrefutable video evidence. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just need somebody up there that feels like they want to get involved in the game and turn something over. You know what? If they turned that one over, they should have turned Walker's ball that was heading into the end zone. But you know what? I didn't think they should have done that. So I hate the officiating booth in all sports. And, it gets you. It gets you. Whatever you're a fan of, it'll get you. If you're a Spartan fan, it'll get you. And you know what? Maybe it'll end up evening out, but it's BS. And what made it worse is you got Joel Klatt and you got Mike Pereira. You got the color analyst and you got, Mikey Rulebooks. And both of these guys are like, you know what? They're not going to overturn this one. I mean, look at it. The ball's moving. No way. And Mike Pereira's like, nah, the call on the field. They're going to have to just stay with the call on the field. And, you knew as soon as they were over there with the little notebook writing things down, it's like, this is not going to go Michigan's way. And it didn't. And it sounds like I'm crying about it because I am. But you know what? There was a whole second half to play still. And Michigan did have a 16-point lead, and State made about 8 of the key plays down the stretch to win it. So Michigan only has themselves to blame. And the 2-quarterback system, burned them. It was part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they got big games coming up at Penn State. They got the Indiana at prime time at Ohio State. I think you kind of want to figure out who's your guy at quarterback, because if it didn't work for you in a game that big, what do you think he's going to do at Penn State or against Ohio State? It's probably not going to work for you in those big games either.
Let's get some of the feedback. You ready, Raj?
Let's do it.
I like that camo pullover, by the way. I didn't zero in on it until just now. It looks pretty sweet. All right, here's Bashir. He loves some action. Yeah, you know what? You get the football all weekend, and then you have to get to a Tuesday and a Wednesday before you get to Thursday night, but not when you got action, and not when you got Eastern in action down against Toledo. Here's Pete.
Your alma mater.
Michigan didn't lose to MSU. They lost to Kenneth Walker. Yeah. All right, Pete. It was the Kenneth Walker game.
Kenneth Walker is one of the favorites for the Heisman right now.
Yeah, he's number 1 on my list. He the first touchdown, the one that he dropped right at the goal line that they didn't overturn and they shouldn't have. Michigan had him. Like, he ran into the middle of he was up the middle. They had like 3 guys around him. He's really hard to tackle. I mean, it's the sign of a great back. I mean, he bounced it out, went for the touchdown. 57-yarder on the third down. Their third down that they made on that second, 8-point play. It's just amazing. He gets out of the open. He's Michigan couldn't get him on the ground, man. I give all the credit to that guy in the world, man. He was tough, and it's a great quality to have, not being really hard to tackle. And, I'm tired of seeing him going in there, man. I've had nightmares, since Saturday night.
Yeah.
You should have seen on Halloween. I didn't need to watch any scary movies.
Yeah, he carried the offense for sure because Peyton Thornton didn't play that well. It was the Kenneth Walker show without a doubt.
It was, but when Peyton Thorne needed to on the two, he had a 4th and 1 and he had a 4th and 4. One, he lobbed over the middle in the first half, and then he hit Reed on another, 30 or 41, 30 or 40-yard pass, down right to the goal line that then Michigan couldn't handle the tempo, and Walker walked right in, and it would have been another flag on Michigan for not having, the correct amount of people out on the field. So, yeah, he had a great day. Sometimes, guys get rolling, but he was already a finalist for the Heisman, and in the group being talked about at the midway point, he's number one in my book. I haven't seen anybody better. He's been the most outstanding player in college football. If I had to vote, I would vote for him right now. But I don't know. It doesn't make me feel any better. It doesn't make me feel any better that if he goes on and maybe he'll go on and score 10 more touchdowns, and he'll end up going in the first round of the NFL, and he'll be like LaDainian Tomlinson. That's what he's reminding me of right now, LT. And then I'll look and he'll say, you know what? Spartans they hit that transfer portal and came up gold, with Kenneth Walker, the 3rd, 5 touchdowns. Well, you knew Beth was going to be excited, Raj, because she loves Michigan State. MSU made the plays when they had to. Michigan went for too many field goals. Harbaugh got outreached. I think she meant outcoached. He gave her a reacher. I don't know. He got outcoached. I'm with you on that, but how did he get outcoached? Well, they weren't ready for the tempo and too many men on the field. His defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, was 33 years old, and he didn't know what hit him. And the Michigan defense didn't either. And I would say from that standpoint right there, you are correct. And the calls that they made, down the stretch, going for it on 4th down and being able to come up big and having his team stay in it and not get down when they were down 16. I think all those things are true. And, Michigan having to settle for too many field goals is correct as well. So, Beth, you're on top of it. Congratulations for the win. I know you'll enjoy it. You should. It was a great victory. It was an awesome game. It's too bad that somebody, especially Michigan, had to come out on the short end.
So do you think State's in the driver's seat to win the Big Ten East now?
No, I think Ohio State is. Ohio State looks like the best team to me, but, Michigan State sure has a hell of a chance to play for a championship, and that's all you can ask for. You can ask for a lot. I mean, Michigan State, nobody was thinking that this was going to happen, so this is all a surprise. No Michigan fans thought it was going to happen either, but you get to 8-0 and you only have the 4 games remaining. One of them's against Ohio State, down at the Snake Pit. They get a chance. Back when they went to the college football playoff, nobody gave them a chance to go down there. They had a backup quarterback, and they were able to do it. So, I wouldn't say that there's zero chance that Michigan State goes down there and wins. It's not like this Ohio State team looks like, they're like the greatest Buckeye team ever, but I would still favor Ohio State.
Yeah, I agree with you. But State's definitely overachieving though. So salute to Mel Tucker, man. He's been phenomenal.
Hey, look, you know what? Michigan State, I know I would be enjoying this week. It would be so awesome. It would just be heaven, football heaven, man. I'd be sitting back. I'd be the college football playoff reveal. We know it's just it's a publicity stunt, just to get everybody all fired up. And it works. People love college football. I would vote Michigan State. I would vote Georgia 1, Michigan State 2. I'd put Cincinnati 3, and I'd put Oklahoma 4. But I would do that, and then I would put Oregon 5. And I would do all that knowing that Ohio State plays Michigan State. So if Ohio State beats them, they can jump up to 2. And I would put, and you notice I didn't put Bama in there either. Now I'd put Bama 5 and Oregon 6. And you know what? Bama fans could bite it because they know that they will, if they win the rest of their games, that they'll get into the top 4. So they don't need to be in the top 4 right now. Bama or Ohio State don't need to be in the top 4 right now.
Right. But yeah, I agree with you on that. We all know Alabama's going to eventually get in. Ohio State as well. They beat MSU, Michigan, and win Big Ten championship game. They'll be in. No doubt about it.
And I know Oklahoma hasn't beaten anybody except Texas, and I know Cincinnati they beat Notre Dame on the road, but their strength of schedule is like in the hundreds, so that doesn't look great for them. But they've been up high, all year long. Now you're gonna take them out of the top four if you're the college football playoff committee. What? I would rather see a Cincinnati in there over Oklahoma, and you know what? The Tide right now, like I said, they don't need to be in front of them either. And I'm not putting a one-loss Oregon team in front of Cincinnati. Too bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. Oklahoma, I don't know about Oklahoma, but Alabama, Ohio State, Cincinnati for sure.
Let's get some more feedback. This is from Adam. Cade, Aiden, Ajabo, Andrell Anthony, all huge games. Michigan on paper should have won. If Walker doesn't go nuts, U of M wins. Wolverines would have beaten any other team with Saturday's numbers.
I agree.
You're right, Adam. That's Adam from CashToBitcoin.com. Hey, good job, Adam. Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, and there's always a lot of trash talk back and forth, that's going to happen. It really was. I tweeted out when it got to 30-30 that no matter what happened, it was a great game. And, I didn't feel like that afterwards, but, it was. I mean, it was thrilling. I know some people would rather just get blown out if they're going to lose so they don't have to be, captivated or feeling like torture, for the entire game. But that's not the way I feel. I mean, I can still enjoy a game. I don't like losing, but you can't be a big baby about it. I just wish we had lost by 40. I mean, that's being a baby, Raj. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that people that say that are babies.
Yeah. I hate things.
Let's see Pete Finelli. He is our intern. He's out in Happy Valley. Pete, you had the nightcap. You were down at Ohio State. I got to give you guys credit. I thought you might, if you had played like you had played against Illinois, that you could have gotten beat by, 20, 30, 40 points. But you guys stayed in it for the majority of the game.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like you were saying, it's frustrating being that close just to lose. And it's like, that we were expected to get blown out. And, just to be in the game is frustrating. But obviously you want to see your team perform. And, I mean, they were in that game the whole time. I think a couple of really dumb mistakes. Ohio State, their first two drives in the second half, first play of each drive went for like 50, 60 yards, which resulted in a field goal and then a touchdown next time. So yeah, that was brutal. The strip sack that was taken back for a touchdown, and there were two times we got called for illegal touching where a receiver stepped out of bounds and then made the catch, and of course, and one of them was against Lovett all the way in the fourth quarter, which would have resulted in a touchdown. That was a huge blow. So a couple of dumb mistakes and just being a little bit outperformed here and there. But you know what? They put up a good fight where they were projected to lose by 18, I think it was. Did half of that. So at Ohio State, hard to complain, but still a devastating loss.
Well, here's the interesting thing for you, Pete. You play both Michigan and Michigan State. And as Raj was just talking about, you think Michigan State can beat Ohio State. I don't think Michigan can, and they have them at home. Ohio State's offense is a juggernaut. The running back is great. And they're Olave and Garrett Wilson are awesome. The quarterback looks fantastic. I mean, how do you feel like Michigan State? Could Penn State? Do you think Penn State's going to split with them? Do you think they're going to beat them both? Do you think they're going to lose both? Do you think either Michigan or Michigan State can beat Ohio State?
Definitely. I think Michigan State has the best chance to beat Ohio State. Just. You guys were saying, I think Michigan all around that game was the better team, and Michigan State just had the more big plays. But when it comes to Ohio State, Michigan State, I feel like has more of the ability to get those big time plays. And when it comes to Penn State playing them, I can see them maybe taking Michigan because they're home, they're here playing them in 2 weeks. Maybe. And then the problem is you saw what happened with Penn State 2 weeks ago, and they couldn't stop the run at all. So when they go to Michigan State and they have to face Walker, there's no way they're going to be able to keep up with that. they're going to get burnt by him time and time again.
All right, Pete, we'll hear more from you in the ensuing chapters here. We've got one more feedback before we get to the second chapter. We've been talking about Michigan and Michigan State. Here's another feedback from Beth, who says, asked me if I agree with most the Michigan fan base that wants Harbaugh gone. I heard that from a Michigan fan that probably 75% want him gone. I don't think Michigan will ever fire him. Do you? I don't agree that 75% of Michigan fans want him gone. I think 75% of people that call in on talk radio or post online, I would say that that's true. But I don't think 75% of them want him gone. You know, it's an interesting thing about Michigan. Like, you know, they say Michigan fans, they just love Jim Harbaugh, and they still think, up till last year, I still thought he was the best guy for the job. I thought, yeah, you know what? He can't beat Ohio State, but you know, if there's one person that knows all about Ohio State or how to beat them, it's Jim Harbaugh. And if he can't get it done, nobody else can. But you know, after a while, you go to 0-2 against Tucker. You're under 500 against Michigan State. You know, there comes a time. I don't think that Ward Manuel is going to fire him. I think that Jim Harbaugh, they'll come to some kind of agreement and he would walk away. But you know, like I thought last year that he would have gone to the Bears. I mean, they were trying to get him out last year. And, you know, he was going to go to Chicago. But I don't think that most Michigan fans want him gone. I think the interesting part that'll kind of tell itself is when you get to Thanksgiving weekend. That's when Michigan's playing Ohio State. And if Michigan beats, they've got Indiana this week. They're a 20-point favorite. And then they got to go to Penn State. They can win that game. Well, Pete, you know, it seems like a toss-up, but I'm going to give Michigan just a slight advantage in that game, just slight, you know, based on like, you know, Illinois. And I know Penn State played, they played Ohio State tough, but I give Michigan the slight advantage in that game. And I think it's, you know, I'm not saying that they're going to win for sure, but, and then I think they can beat Maryland. So if they win their next three, and then, you know, I could see Michigan, you know, showing up their fans for that final game. But if, you know, they lose against Penn State or lose one of the other ones, and there's a sea of red again, and Ohio State, you know, kicks their teeth in, it's kind of like, I don't know. Well, it's going to be pretty obvious, you know, at that point. I know it's obvious to a lot of other people, but Michigan fans love their old players. I mean, they put people in positions. You know, you look at some of the broadcasters out there that just are old former Michigan football players, and you're like, come on, like what's going on here? Yeah, you know, Harbaugh. It feels like he does have a lifetime contract.
He just got extended this past offseason, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But he got a lot less. He got half the money, and the buyout goes down substantially, so they can get out of it really easy. The thing is there's nobody else out. You know, there's not a great amount of coaches that you're looking out there saying, "Ooh, yeah, let's go after him." You know, there's the Iowa State coach.
I mean, what about somebody that's already on the staff? Maybe what if somebody like Gaddis? You think that would make sense?
I don't think Michigan fans like Gaddis. I don't think Michigan fans like. You know what? If there's one guy, there's two guys on the staff that I would think that Sharon Moore is their offensive line coach. I like him. Like he's got one of those captivating personalities. When you just listen to him, he's a good-looking guy. He just knows how to command a room. And when you hear the players talk about him, he can do that too. He just looks like it sounds like it acts like. You know, he's going to be a former or future head coach. And I think Mike Hart would be another guy that, you know, go from running backs coach to head coach. But, you know, and that would be the old Michigan man thing. So it's kind of like Michigan fans are like, we already got a Michigan man in there. Why do we need to go to Mike Hart? We already got Mike Hart. So.
Right. And hey, if the two quarterback system thing was working, I think they would be a little more happier with Gaddis.
Well, I think if they would have won the game on Saturday, they'd be happy with Gaddis. I mean, that's it. I mean, you lose against your rivals, and at what point, I know a lot of people like taking the Brady Hoke years and the Rich Rodriguez years and stacking up how they did against the rivals and all these others and putting the scores out there and saying, you want this again? Well, it doesn't mean that if you go to another coach that they're going to fall back. I mean, they could, but a lot of people are scared, like, oh my God, we've got to go another 10 years. And, you know, that's the amazing thing about Michigan State. Mark D'Antonio is going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. And, you know, towards the end, it didn't go well, and it bottomed out. And it wasn't like Mel Tucker was out there and everybody was like, oh, who? Like, oh, yeah, what a great hire. I was like, Mel Tucker. They had to go grab him after the cycle was at its end, and they had to give him an extra year. And then Tucker didn't even know the names of his players or anything, and he came in. Nobody was picking him to win anything. Nobody picked him to win anything this year either. And then he just went out there, swapped the whole team out of the transfer portal. I know this. He knows how to identify talent. He knows how to organize the team, and he knows how to get them to play together. He's done all those things.
Absolutely. Mel Tucker's been doing a phenomenal job. That team has definitely been overachieving this year.
I think he should go to LSU.
And who knows? They might end up having a Heisman winner on their roster right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe the Lions will take Kenneth Walker. Now they've already got it back, but maybe LSU will take Mel Tucker. Hey, you ready to move on, Raj?
Line Kenneth Walker up at quarterback. Let him run the read option with DeAndre Swift. There you go. All right, we slide into chapter 2. Speaking of those Lions, the Lions currently 0-8. We just seen the blowout against Philly on Sunday. They are going into the bye week. So, Dennis, go ahead and give us everything Lions.
That game was so disgusting on Sunday. I turned it off at some point in the third quarter and came back to it. And I couldn't believe they were down 24-0, and then it was in the 30s, and the touchdowns were coming in so fast. I mean, it was the sickening part is we all fell for it. I saw somebody at one of the Vegas books were saying that like 80% of the money was on the Lions too. People thought the Lions were going to get their one victory of the year. And, stupid me, I thought that the Lions, 2 out of the last 3 games, I bet on the Lions against the Bengals. And so I'm like, and then they came out and they played like total garbage. Well, then I was loaded up on them again. I said, this is the last time I'm betting on the Lions. Going completely against what my own rule is to never bet on the Lions. Here I was doing it again. But Roger, was worse than that because I bet on them on a money line. And then when they got down 10-0, I went to the inline, the live bets. And I thought, wow, they're going to give me 10.5 points here. I doubled down. And then I did it again. It was 24-0. And they were giving me 24 points. And I said, all the money that I put down there, they're not going to lose my 24. Let me jump. And I threw that good money after bad again. Not once, not twice, 3 times. And then I turned it off and I came back and the game was over. They scored back-to-back, big play. Slay had a TD on him. It was the most Lions thing ever for me that's happened in my life. It tells me, like when I try to explain to them, like, yeah, I like the Lions, but I try not to get attached to them because they, torture me every time. And here I was again, picking them against the Bengals, betting them against the Eagles. And, they did it to me again.
Yeah, I was right with you. On the show last Tuesday show, I picked them to win. You look at the schedule, you say, if there's any game you're going to win, this would be one of those games. I said Philly. I said Chicago on Thanksgiving and at Atlanta. Those 3 games will be one of the wins, and they couldn't pull it out. Even some of the bad coaching I've been seeing from Dan Campbell. It was down to 17-0 on that 4th and 1 right before the halftime. Take the points there, kick the field goal, go into the half with 17-3. You're only down 2 scores. At least you have some points on the board, and Philly's going to get the ball back. So why not take the points in that position? I didn't understand why he went for it there, and even weeks before that, the Chicago game, you heard run to the line, go for the 4th down, don't take the points. I've been seeing a lot of questionable coaching from Campbell. In a year like this, you kind of sweep it under the rug a little bit, but moving forward, you want to see him learn from those mistakes.
No, I think you're right on. Dan Campbell, I don't know if he's in over his head, but the honeymoon is over. And I'd say Brad Holmes too. He Rashard Perriman at wide receiver couldn't even make the team coming out of camp. They gave picks away from Trinity Benson, some guy I've never heard of because he had a nice exhibition season. That's what happens in my fantasy football league. Some dude blows up in some exhibition game in the 4th quarter and somebody picks him in the 4th round. Everybody's like, what are you new? That's what Brad Holmes did. So Brad Holmes, the honeymoon's over for him too. They didn't do anything here at the trading deadline. Not that I think anybody wanted anybody from the Lions. Lions are calling up. They're like, no, we're okay. And obviously they shouldn't have added anybody. I think if Jamal Williams would have been healthy, he's not. They're teams that are in desperate need of some running back help. We know that King Henry's out for the year. That sucks that Derrick Henry is gone. But, they're signing AP, so they might have had some interest in Jamal Williams, but he's hurt. It's not like you're going to trade you trade a hurt guy, so that doesn't happen usually. So, just the Lions don't really have anything to get any draft compensation back, and obviously they shouldn't have given up anything to get somebody on this team.
I mean, I've been saying it, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I think they should have traded for Deshaun Watson, man. I say my trade offers. Look, Houston, you're not getting 4, 5, 6 first round picks. Cut the crap with all that. I got the Rams first round pick this year that we got for Stafford. I got Jared Goff, and I got our second round pick next year for Deshaun Watson.
Well, the Rams cut Deshaun Watson today. So if the Lions want him, they can have him. But, like, here's the thing I don't get about Deshaun Watson. I mean, he went to Cal.
Oh, you said the Texans cut Deshaun Watson today?
No, the Rams cut him.
The Rams cut Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, I'm looking at Deshaun Jackson's name. You were talking about Deshaun Watson. That's what. Yeah.
Okay.
Texans cut Deshaun Watson would have been interesting. No, yeah, let's go back. What were you saying about Deshaun Watson?
Oh, yeah. I said the Lions, they need to trade Goff, the Rams first round pick this year, and the Lions second round pick next year for a package for Deshaun Watson. Because, I mean, look, there's no clear-cut guy in the first round of the draft. A lot of the free agent guys, they're going to be just guys. Deshaun Watson's young. He's still in his prime, but we all know the Fords, this ownership, they're not going to do it. You have women ownership. He has charges against women, so they're not going to do it. But that's the move they should make, though.
Well, one, Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause, so would he want to come to Detroit? He waived it for Miami and maybe another team.
I think at this point, he just wants to get on the field.
Yeah, I don't think the Texans would have taken that package that you were offering up. I don't think they would want anything to do with Jared Goff. I mean, like, why? Why would anybody want Jared Goff? I mean, he's going to be a backup for another team, and if somebody gets hurt, he might come in and have a shot. But it's pretty apparent, like, you can't. They had everything. Jared Goff had everything around him in LA, and they didn't want him anymore. Now he comes here, and it's not like he can pull a team up by his bootstraps. It's like, you know what? He's if he's not one of the top 32 quarterbacks, he's he might be like the top 35. But you're not winning anything here. That's pretty obvious with Jared Goff. I mean, his game is just falling off, and and the 22 charges that you mentioned. I mean, that is standing out. Like, Miami wanted him, but they wanted some guarantees. Like, look, I mean, if this guy gets charged, and if you're not coming up and ready to have a resolution and ready to compensate the play, get this taken care of, and then we can figure out you can be on the field or not. It's not like you're going to trade a guy and then next year he's going to be suspended for the entire season, or he might end up going to jail. I mean, you got to figure that out. So that was always hanging over his head. But I don't think the Lions ever had a chance. And what you say is true. I don't think that I don't think the Fords would touch Watson. But I would, in this case, I wouldn't touch him either. I don't think he wants to come here.
And that's why the Lions are the Lions. They're so worried about their bottom line that they don't go out on the limb. They don't take those chances, and that's why they're stuck in mediocrity.
Well, I think that the problem with the Lions is that they would have to give up not only those LA picks, that I think they'd have to give up their own number one, which might be number one overall. So they'd have to give up, I don't know, 3 1s and I try to Hawkinson, maybe something like. They're gonna have to give up a package like that, and then Watson's gonna come in here. Lions are gonna have no picks, and he's gonna be throwing to Trinity Benson and Khalif Raymond and Bernie Pringle, and it's like, who? I don't know what any of those guys are either.
Yeah, Houston hasn't come down on that ransom. You're not getting 4, 5, 6 first round picks, all that. Just Houston, cut it out. Cut it out.
Beth on the feedback thought that the Lions should have hired an experienced coach. Campbell's in way over his head. He doesn't have the talent to work with, though, but you can tell he does not have a clue. How would you all compare the 0-16 team with what looks like it will be an 0-17 Lions this year? This may be the worst team I have ever seen. Well, Beth, I did the Lions post game for those 0-16 teams, and they had one Dan Orlovsky like running out of the back of the end zone. He was, washed up Dante Culpepper. I mean, Jared Goff, I mean, you can call him washed up, but he's better than anything that the Lions had at quarterback. I mean, the 0-16 team did have Calvin Johnson, though. Yeah. They had Calvin. But the last two, the Bengals game, Raj, and the Eagles game felt a lot like the 0-16 season, where the game it happened, like, hey, Lions, and everything. And then it was over so fast. And when you got into the second half, there was no interest. And you just got the people in the stadium were angry and people were leaving. And it was paper bags. And it was nasty. And I remember, like, usually if you're going to talk about it, do like 3 hours after the game, like, you're taking a note here. You didn't have to take any notes during the 0-16 season. This is what the notes look like. And the only thing you needed to say is fire Millen. That's the only thing to sell the team. That's all anybody wanted to talk about. And I don't know that there's no, Campbell a little bit, Holmes some, but Ford's a little bit. But you know what? They've already got a new GM. It's not like you're firing him. They're actually not going to fire Dan Campbell. They were going to fire Rod Marinelli. They did replace Matt Millen during the season. So that's got to be the tough part if you're covering the Lions. And I saw a lot of the beat writers, on Twitter in the second half, and I think it was Kyle Meineke who finally just sold me. He's like, I don't know why you're watching this game, but do me a favor, get out of here, don't watch it. And I was like, you know what? If I get all the writers telling me that this is such a joke, what am I doing here? Click. I watch something else.
What about the Lions going after a guy like Cam Newton? Would that make any sense?
For this year, I think the Lions don't want to win any games, and they've got a guy that they're paying $30 million to. That's the problem. If they had like David Blau, like if Goff got hurt, I think maybe you'd want to bring somebody in just to try to put some respectable, even though they're not going to win a game or two, they might want to do something like that. But they got Jared Goff. I don't know if Cam's going to be that much better than Jared Goff. Maybe he'd be a little bit better, but I don't know about how much.
Right. Yeah, just not much to work with. The roster's bad. The roster's really bad.
I always associate Pete Finelli with the Eagles, and he always says he's not an Eagles fan. But were you an Eagles fan this past Sunday, Pete?
No, I was with you guys. I wanted to see the Lions, show up and win a game. I know on Thursday we all said, like, yeah, we all picked them in the pick'em segment. Like, yeah, this is going to be the week they finally do it. The Eagles are not a good team this year, and we were all hopeful. No, I was really disappointed. As much as, like, I almost felt like I was a fan of the team, like rooting. I was like, come on, like, I don't even know what to do with Lions at this point. You were talking about maybe Raj, you were saying possibly signing Cam Newton. I mentioned I think they should sign Deshaun Jackson just to have some threat at their wide receiver position. But there's just no talent on that team at all besides Hawkinson and Swift. Besides those guys, there's nothing. Like, I just don't know I don't even know what the first step with this team would be. Maybe, I guess, the draft probably.
I don't get it with Deshaun Jackson. Go ahead.
I think if Deshaun Jackson signs with anybody, he'd be a contender. I don't think he will want to come here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he'd want to. I'm saying the Lions need to do something, and he was recently released. They need a guy who can be a deep threat, who can be a big playmaker at wide receiver. He's older. He's not going to be signing for a ton of money. No, you're right. He wouldn't sign with the Lions. It was more of that's kind of the idea of something they need to do is they need to go get somebody who isn't St. Brown or Khalif Raymond at wide receiver.
I guess he fit well with the Rams. It was the perfect spot for him.
Yeah.
Deep threat. He caught some touchdowns. I see Rob Diddy throwing a bunch of different things up here on the line.
Sorry.
I know he loves Anzalone. No, it's okay.
I was
what is
trying to get it
everything
right.
there?
Look,
Let's see it.
Let us go full screen. Let's go to
Go full screen.
Finally, I get my chance here.
There it is.
Okay, so look. Alex Anzalone. Look at this man. 31 tackles. Oh, this was so much better originally. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm trying to get this right. Alex Anzalone, this man, 31 tackles, 1 sack. Let's uncrop this image. Let's go back to normal. As we look at this screenshot, he dominates every game. Honestly, Pete, you were completely wrong. The Lions have Alex Anzalone out here dominating. There we go. But the stats don't lie.
Well, one, he's a middle linebacker, an inside linebacker, so you're going to get a lot of tackles. I'm not taking too much away from him. Down there on the goal line, whether it was Boston Scott, I think it was Boston Scott, like he went over there and kind of half-assed the tackle over there. So he looks like he's got some I-75 eyes to me, and where he's a little bit lionized, and I don't know. Like, maybe they could have got something for Anzalone, but I don't know. Was the team going to give the Lions a 6th rounder for him? But
Yeah,
I'm not all that
If-
impressed. I think he's the best, maybe of a bad bunch.
yeah. I mean, someone on that team has got to get the tackles. I mean, he's got a lot, sure, but he's playing with. I don't know anybody else on that defense.
Pete, you have to break it down as a whole. Right now, the talent level is so low. Anzalone's on a 1-year deal. He's making like $1.3 million. Honestly, he's a budget pickup. He's going to be here short term. And there has to be some bright spot. If you listen, every single play, they're announcing his name. Alex Anzalone, left and right. He's a playmaker. He's out there doing what he can to help.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not putting in the effort. I'm saying he's on this team that has no playmaking ability on that defense. So sure, he's going to be making the tackles because he's at that middle linebacker position. He's got the guys coming across the middle for the slant routes. He's got the run plays. He's going to have the numbers. But when you compare him to middle linebackers around the league, like
what a beautiful photo.
He just loves him. That's not bad to have love for a player. It's nice that you can still root for somebody.
Guy has something to cheer for.
Sure.
I'm gonna have to get Robert Anzalone jersey.
Thank you. I would appreciate that.
Pete's a big Kane fan from Penn State, the running back. I mean, so it's not like he's a world beater either.
I do not like Kane.
I know you don't.
No, he's more of a Robertson guy.
I'll tell you, we're all Dotson fans. I don't know what happened to him, though.
Oh, I don't know.
All right, Pete, you want to come back for some baseball or basketball or hockey, or are you cash for the night?
I don't know nothing about those. That's all you guys.
All right. Well, we'll keep you in the chat. You keep coming up with some outstanding previews and everything. That is Pete Finelli there on the chat. You ready to move on, Raj?
Let's do it.
Takes us to chapter 3, and that gets us to the Pistons, who are in action right now, taking on the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. And this is a game where the Greek Freak is not playing, and the Pistons right now with 7-24 to play till halftime are getting beat 36-28. So it's an 8-point game. Cade Cunningham is in this game, and he started 1 of 4 from the field, 9 minutes, 2 points. He debuted the other night, Raj, and then the Pistons had a back-to-back, and I was tuning in, and they said, no, Cade Cunningham. And they said, in the short term, the plan is not to play Cade Cunningham in back-to-back games. What's your feeling about the Pistons' plan for Cade?
Yeah, I don't get that. Why they're resting 19, 20-year-old rookie? He's only played 1 game thus far this season. I just don't get the rest. I would have liked to see him go at it. The number 1 pick go at it against arguably the best player in the league, Kevin Durant, James Harden. I would have liked to see him go heads up with those guys. You just get the playing experience in general. So I don't understand resting Cade, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The guy should be out there getting his feet wet.
Yeah, on one hand, like I get you want to be super careful with the guy, and they didn't play him at the start of the season and the ankle injury, but I don't know, and maybe it's some kind of new medicine or something, or new kind of technique here. But I've never heard of somebody having a sprained ankle and then saying, well, he can play one night, but we're just not going to play him on a back-to-back. I mean, if he was 40 years old, I mean, if it's Chris Paul in the early season, I could see the Suns saying, I could see the Lakers saying with LeBron, but is this some kind of load management for a rookie? It makes you feel like there's something else here. Like, is this, he's had this ankle injury for a long time. Like, should he be playing at all if he's not going to be able to play in a back-to-back? And I know with Rod Beard from the Detroit News was like, hey, you got to have patience, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And, the Piston fans were expected to see the number 1 pick and to have some fun this year. And right now it looks like they're like low key taking it again. And so maybe this is what they're going to do. It's going to be one of these things where they bury themselves in such a big hole that it's going to be one of these, well, we'll just give Cade we'll give Cade December off and we'll bring him back. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense on one hand. On the other hand, you definitely don't want to play a guy and try to hurt him for the long term or anything. So, yeah, I mean, they are super kid gloves babying him, but I'd never heard my entire life of any team resting somebody because of an ankle on the back-to-backs, unless they were 157 years old.
Yeah, and I mean, the Pistons, they haven't been exciting at all this season. Hasn't been much excitement, but the one exciting thing we do have, the first overall pick, Cade Cunningham, and you're resting him for all these games. You're taking some of the luster, you're taking some of the excitement away. Like, we knew they weren't going to beat the Nets Sunday in Brooklyn, but hey, if Cade would have played in that game, it'd have made it that much more exciting. It'd have been exciting to see him and Harden go at it, even though you knew they were going to lose. But yeah, I just don't get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Pistons they're not that exciting right now. Like I said, no Giannis tonight, no Middleton, no Lopez. You're still losing to the Bucks. No Cade tonight. I just don't understand it. I don't get the direction.
I'm not going to go crazy and say Troy Weaver and the staff don't know what they're doing, but I'm also not going to sit over here and tell them, let's just be patient. I'm a little impatient,
Yeah.
This team hasn't done anything in 15 years. I know Troy Weaver's only been here for a minute, but come on, man. We're all excited and they're trying some kind of a Cade plan that I've never seen any other team try or even think about trying. So, yeah, I'm a little impatient. I'm wondering if they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I said it before. I'm gonna keep saying it again. I think they need to go ahead and make a splash. They're 1-5 right now. They got the worst. They came in tonight with the worst record in the Eastern Conference. You got to make a splash. Go ahead and make the move for Ben Simmons. You heard it here first.
Woo, Ben's give me the horn.
Ben Simmons to the Pistons. Let's get it.
I don't think they should do that, but
5-6 first-round picks. I'm not gutting my roster. Something, if you can get Ben Simmons for something reasonable, something that makes sense, I'm all for it. This team needs a splash. They need to excite some type of excitement. You're the worst team in the Eastern Conference right now. You have nothing to lose. I would like to see a Cade and Ben Simmons backcourt. And, bundle Killian Hayes in that package. It doesn't seem like Killian Hayes is going to work out here. Get rid of Killian Hayes, bring in Ben Simmons.
Hayes and next year's number one?
There we go. Sounds good to me.
MAT, Pistons might squeeze this out. Now it looks like they might be coming back on the Bucks at the break. All right. Are you ready to move on, Raj?
Yes,
Before we do that, let's thank our presenting sponsor, and that you can see him on the screen. That is cashtombitcoin.com.
Yes, sir. All right. We get into the Red Wings. The Red Wings are coming off back-to-back losses. They lost to the Maple Leafs and the Panthers. They're in Montreal tonight at the Canadiens. So, Dennis, what is your evaluation of the Red Wings thus far?
Pretty good. They did lose, but and they're losing right now at the end of one. They're down 2-0 to Montreal, but they lose to the Leafs in Toronto by 1 goal. They lose to the Panthers in OT, and the Panthers, they haven't lost a game yet this year. It's amazing. Florida's been the best team in hockey, and then before that, the Wings, they had the overtime winner where they beat where Larkin scored for him. So. Lucas Raymond has played 9 games. He's got 9 points. And Tyler Bertuzzi has played 7 games. He's got 6 goals. So the top line's playing good. Mo Sider, he got some kind of award here. Lucas Raymond, I mean, everything's going good here. Everything's going fine. I like what I see from the Red Wings. They're battling. They're not going to win every game. Probably not going to make the playoffs, but they're playing competitively every night. That's what you want to see from them.
Absolutely. They're definitely much improved than last year. They're better than what they are last year. Obviously, the addition of Raymond and Sider, giving those guys the call up. Play the young guys. Bring them up. Yeah, I understand they're 19, 20, 21. They're young guys, but they're better on this roster than not bank on it. I'm glad they're up here. Same thing with the Tigers. You want to see eventually. You want to see Torque. You want to see Riley Green. You want to see these guys. You want to see these young guys play. And the Red Wings are doing it right. They're headed in the right direction, So Bertuzzi, Sider, Raymond, Larkin, those guys are all playing well. Just you want to see some other guys step up, play better as well. Fabry, Zadina, those guys. But overall, the Red Wings, they're trending in the right direction for sure.
You see some pictures of the Wings back there. Let's put the history of excellence up there. Can we see that picture? I don't know if I've seen that one at the Little Caesars Arena. Is that down? Can we make a full screen of that one? Let me see that. Yeah, I've never. That must be at the new place down at the Little Caesars Arena. It's pretty cool. All the trophies there, and the Red
Yeah, I
Wings.
don't recall seeing that. I was just at the LCA a couple weeks ago. I went to the Simone Biles event with my daughter, and I don't recall seeing that.
You know, they've got spots where you go down by the locker room, and you see that there's like I don't know, some real VIP stuff where it's going to look like a little restaurant there, and people can see them going in and out of the locker room before they hit the ice. My guess is that it would be down there somewhere in the hallways, and I never made my way down there. All the times that for 2 years, man, probably 50 times, but I just kind of wanted to stay in. Wherever I didn't want to go see the whole place all at once. But I never did see that one. I figured one day I would. I still figure that. So we'll see what happens on that. You ready to get to some baseball?
Let's do it. Let's get to the MLB.
Game 6 of the World Series. And Rob, I don't know. I see you still got some hockey highlights going on, which look pretty good, and throwing some Pistons up there. But I sent you a screenshot. A guy from ESPN put all the game times from the World Series over the past few years, and then he also put the World Series this year for the first 5 games and the ending times of the games when they got over. And each of the last 29 World Series games have ended after 11 o'clock at night. So, Raj, how can you expect to get young baseball fans when all of these games, last game ended at 12:15, game 1 ended after midnight as well, game 4 was close to midnight. You staying up to midnight tonight to watch some baseball?
Yeah, I'm gonna check out the World Series. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I don't think Atlanta's gonna win. I don't think they're gonna eliminate Houston. I think it's gonna go to a game 7. But I mean, yeah, Manfred, they set the new rules to shorten some of the games, so they're not as long. Putting the runner on second base in extra innings. So they're doing what they can do to shorten these games, but it's just not. It's hard to get around it. It's really hard to get around it.
There you go. You see the start times. Game 5 ended at past midnight, 11:54, 11:30. Game 2 got over reasonably early at 11:20. And game 1 there at 12:15 as well. That's good stuff, Rob. Blowing it up a little bit. I think, the thing about Atlanta is they were up 3-1. And last year they lost to the Dodgers when they were up 3-1. And people talk about, I saw Ludacris before game 1. He's like, Atlanta's back. Don't worry about us being down 28-3 in the Super Bowl. We got this, and the Braves, it feels like in Georgia, there was another one, like they were up on Alabama and ended up losing in the championship game. So, Brave fans feel like they're going to lose this. They had a great shot, last night, gave up a grand slam early and the fans were going crazy, but now they got to go to Houston. I think baseball fans want to see a game 7. And, I agree with you. I think that there's going to be a game 7. Now, going back to the history of the World Series, teams that were up 3-1 and were at home and lost that game, the situation is, you would think that, maybe that meant that they were going to win or lose the series. It's happened 8 times, and 4-4, the teams that are in the situation that were the Braves, where they were at home and they could have wrapped it up. Teams are 4-4. So, that's it looks like a toss-up for them. But I like the Astros here tonight. It was always going to be tough for the Braves if it was going to be a long series because they lost their ace, Charlie Morton, in that first game to a broken leg. So they're in a tough spot here. But you know what? They got 2 games to win 1, and they can win the World Series. So, got to get it done.
Yeah, that'd be devastating. Up 3-1 against the Dodgers last year, and then up 3-1 this year and lose it. Oh man, that'll be horrible. But I mean, Houston, hats off to them. Alvarez, he's raking right now. Correa is playing well. So yeah, I think Houston wins tonight. I did write down.
I do too.
Houston -1.5. They're -125 on the money line, and the over/under in that game is 8.5.
And heck, you know what? Tomorrow night, let's get let's get a game 7 in the World Series. I mean, come on, that's going to help baseball out. Let me get a quick update before we leave on some action. Eastern Michigan in the first quarter, trailing Toledo 14-7 down at the Glass Bowl. So it's a one-score game. Eagles and Chris Creighton hanging in there.
Yeah. We got a full head of monster when we get off here. We got the Pistons, we got the Wings, EMU, we got the World Series. We loaded tonight. We loaded.
It is, man. No truer words have ever been spoken. We want to thank everybody for watching, for the feedback. If you're listening to this after the fact of the podcast right now, we're always here, 7 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thanks to cash2bitcoin.com. Thanks to Pete Finelli, our intern out in State College, Pennsylvania, and Rob Diddy for Rob Banker, turning all the variable resistors and keeping us on the air. For Raj Bundle, Sideshow Raj, great job. Raj, man, we'll talk with you next week. It's always great to see you. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on board.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.